It's just been one bad thing after another for the Little Big Planet series these past few months, whether it's the delistings, LBP.me being down, or the DDoS attack. But this time, it's a little bit more than just LBP. Now, I was going to make this video way earlier this week, but during that time, this was only a rumor reported by a news outlet I've never heard before. I had my doubts, but deep down, I kinda knew this was imminent just based off of Sony's recent decisions, but now we know it's true. The PS3 and PS Vita digital stores will be shut down later this year. PS3's closure is dated for July 2nd, while PS Vita is August 27th. At these dates, you will no longer be able to purchase any digital games outside of cross-buy games, and of course you won't be able to purchase any DLC for these games either. Now obviously, this is devastating if you're a fan of PlayStation as a whole, but even if you're just a Little Big Planet fan, this still really sucks. Every remaining LBP game, including PSP, Vita, LBP1, and the PS3 version of LBP3, will be taken down permanently along with all of their DLCs. Although, since you can re-download stuff, I believe it's possible to buy DLC on PS4 and download it that way, because that should be considered a cross-buy purchase. And along with LBP, literally everything else is getting taken down. That's something I'm a little bit more upset about, because I still play my PS Vita and my PS3 for older games. Those consoles offer so much more legacy content compared to the PS4 or PS5, and that legacy content is sold exclusively through the PlayStation Store, and now that's not going to be possible anymore. There's still a large number of PS1 and PS2 classics, PSP games, and even some PS3 and Vita games and DLC I still had plans of buying later in the future. Now, I either have to buy them before the store's closure or miss out on them forever, I guess. I can only hope Sony does the unthinkable and makes a large portion of these games half off, 75% off, or something, because, come on, these games are leaving for good, and I know some people, such as myself, would be willing to go on one more spending spree if it meant these games can be bought for a steal. Leading up to this announcement though, I've already been going crazy with physical game collecting. As soon as the report came out, actually, even if it wasn't confirmed, I went straight to eBay and bought a few pricier games that I have been meaning to buy for a while, just because I knew these games would eventually skyrocket in price, and if they haven't already, by the time of making this video, they definitely will by July or August, because now physical games are going to be the only way to play these games if you haven't bought them yet. And so far, I'm certainly happy with my PS3 collection at the moment. I think I'm starting to get to a place where I have just about every game I ever wanted on the system. However, for PS Vita and PSP, there's still some games that I want and probably will never get now because those consoles are really going up. They were going up way before this, and now it's starting to get to a point where I don't even want to attempt to look up the prices because, you know, some are $200, $300, and I'm not going to spend that much on a single game ever in my life. I must have knew something like this was going to happen because not too long ago, shortly after LBP got delisted actually, I bought Castlevania Harmony of Despair and all of its DLC. One, because I really wanted to play that game, but also because it's a digital-only title, and exclusive to the PS3 and Xbox 360, I guess. So yeah, since LBP2 was delisted, I was kind of worried that just any game I may have wanted to buy could be snatched from digital storefronts, and my chances of ever playing them officially would go down the drain. That Castlevania game is really fun, by the way. I like Castlevania a lot, and multiplayer Castlevania is a very interesting concept. I totally recommend picking that game up before the stores close if you have any interest whatsoever. And I really hope Konami would put it on other platforms. I'll buy it again for sure, but that's kind of the reason I brought that Castlevania game up. I want more companies, especially Sony, to put their older games on newer platforms. I think now is the perfect time to start remastering some of these older games for newer hardware, even if it's just a re-release with better frame rates and higher resolutions. I'll even take emulation for games on the PS1 and PS2. I don't really care, there just has to be some way to preserve them and play them in the modern era. For example, for PS3, why not port Mod Nation Racers, Killzone, Infamous, maybe those Ratchet and Clank games. I know most, if not all of those games have physical versions out there, but I think people would appreciate and buy remasters of these games on PS4 and PS5 just to play them again. And if they haven't played them before, well, you could introduce new fans to the series, and new fans could lead to new games. Outside of PS Now, there is no way to play some of these games outside of just owning a PS3. And sure, while people like myself are willing to bust out the PS3 from time to time, you have to admit it's an old console, and a majority of people would much rather just play it on their newer systems. As for PSP, we've already seen it with games like Parappa, Patapon, and Loco Roco, but they could be re-released on the PS Store for $20, right? Upgrade them to 4K and 60 FPS, and just do that with more games, I guess. PS3, same thing. You can do like a $20 remaster of a lot of those older games. And PS Vita, I don't really know. I mean, to be honest, there's only a handful of games worth playing on the Vita nowadays, some of which have already gotten remasters, such as Tearaway and Gravity Rush. So maybe just port the last few exclusives if possible. Games like LBP Vita and Uncharted Golden Abyss are still really good exclusive games for that system, and I would absolutely love remasters of them. In Little Big Planet's case, I never thought a remaster of LBP 1 or 2 made the most sense, as LBP 3 just had more content, albeit with more glitches. But those older LBP games deserve to be played, even if it's just for the story mode and aesthetic they each have. So yeah, I'd be down for an LBP 1 or LBP 2 remaster of some kind, especially now since we know that the servers aren't going anywhere. But if a remaster is not in the cards, at the very least, I hope Sony would just make those two games playable on PS Now. If you're not aware, PS Now is that streaming service almost nobody talks about. And while I'm not really interested in using that service, like, ever, I just feel like if you're going to take down these games regardless, at least make them playable in some capacity on PS4 or PS5. I'm not outraged at Sony or anything, and I advise a lot of you to not go out and yell at Sony for this, because let's be honest, this was inevitable. These systems are old. The PS3 came out in 2006. Barely anybody is buying these older games. And this already happened with things like the Wii Shop channel and the DSi channel. I think we should just accept that digital storefronts are not a reliable place for game preservation. I mean, why do you think I like collecting physical games in the first place? I'm always constantly in fear that these games will be taken down one day without any notice whatsoever, so I'm glad they at least told us when it's happening. It would have been the worst thing ever if they just took it down today and said nothing about it. That would have sucked. And of course, they're letting us re-download stuff, so that's like the best case scenario for all of this. Worst case scenario is they take down everything. You can't even go on the PlayStation Store and re-download your stuff, but they did that at least. That's a good thing. Thanks for watching though. All I gotta say is, look out for the next video. I surely hope everyone is moved by it. Goodbye.